Now, welcome to World Chef's podcast. I'm your host, Ragnar Fridriksson, and you're listening to World on a Plate. Food in the metaverse, $1 million opportunity, the experts say. Well, are you ready for it? This is what the experts are saying, and we heard them at a recent World Chefs Congress in Abu Dhabi, which was a great congress, by the way. Great speakers on matters such as the future of our planet and sustainability, the future of work, how to manage skills shortage in the future, and perhaps future of business. Now, if you missed out on the Congress, we will be posting in the coming days all the speakers and the panels on World Chefs TV. So just sign up to worldchef.org and we will alert you when they are up. But there was a very avant-garde expert panel, when I say future of business, talking about blockchain infrastructures, including cryptocurrency, non-fungible tokens, NFT, things I never really thought about or understood. But this panel was brilliantly moderated by Sunjeh Raja, who is a visionary businessman and also the founder of and the CEO of the International Center of Culinary Arts in Dubai, the ICCA, which is an international award-winning world-class culinary training center. I can vouch for that. And guess what? Sunjeh Raja is here with me today to share all this with you. So welcome, Sunjeh. Good to see you.
Hey, great to be with you, Ragnar, and it was lovely seeing you in World Chefs and connecting back with you today.
It was really good to see you, Sunjeh. For those who don't know, you've been a strong partner of World Chefs for many years now. Your school is, of course, World Chef approved naturally, and it's a City and Guilds accredited school. Also, Electrolux Professional Center of Excellence and Innovation, where we have had organized many events together, so it goes a long way back. Our friend from Dilma Tea have their own excellence center, the tea school in your institution. So it was actually, I just want to thank you for all the contribution that you did to this Congress in Abu Dhabi and to help make it a success. Thank you.
Well, it was actually a pleasure, and how do I say, welcome to UAE, the home of ICCA. So when you're at your home, so it obviously was our responsibility to take care of you. So it will be really delighted to have the World Chef Congress in Abu Dhabi, and it was a great opportunity to meet all the like-minded people and obviously the who's who of the industry. And it was I would say a very successful event.
Yeah, you overdid yourself, and I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully, I'll see you next Congress coming in Singapore 2024. We have two years to plan, and maybe there will be another changing world then. But back to our business here. Where to start? What is a metaverse? Where do we start? What is the metaverse, Sunjeh, and how does this relate to the hospitality industry?
Okay, now I would like to start with an honest confession here, Ragnar. Not so long ago, like many, I too was a part of the bandwagon, which was confused with what was happening around.
Yeah.
I remember standing bewildered and with the mind-boggling numbers, because all these mind-boggling numbers pertain to money. And I was very enamored to see what was happening, and especially with this emerging economy, which is basically all around, and to see a whole new world of young crypto millionaires and billionaires, So, but instead of allowing these numbers to basically intrigue me, I decided to learn more about what was happening. I soon realized that it was just not about money, but it was about a all new technology, a new paradigm that could make a difference in the way in which we do things, and also impact and change our lives in the process. Now, it was also the realization that what brought us here is not going to take us forward, and also recalling what Elon Musk once said, either we could watch it happen or be a part of it, and I chose the latter. And so from there, our trust with the metaverse started.
And so, we had a lot of new concepts mentioned at the Congress that probably, like you, maybe a few months back, I think most of the audience were in the same shoes. They didn't really know what to expect, but it was quite an eye-opener. And, we talk about blockchain infrastructure, crypto, TFN. How does all this link together? And how can we, I don't know where to start. Like cryptocurrency, is that going to be for restaurants to use cryptocurrency? Why?
Of course. Okay. Okay, now for this, we basically would need to go to the evolution of the information technology.
Okay.
Now, information technology is something has what we've seen in our own lives. Now, if you recollect, around 1994, we saw the advent of likes of Yahoo, Internet Explorer, Napster, and so forth, which took us on to the WWW, so to say. Now, this was an era of the information economy, or what we call is the web one, where we could actually get to read information. So it was not about going to basically Encyclopedia Britannica or Webster's or whatever, but we could go onto the net, type whatever we wanted, and get information that we needed or what we're seeking. So this is where the whole genesis began. Okay, and exactly in about 10 years from there, around 2004, okay, we saw the likes of Facebook. Okay, then a year later, we saw YouTube, and not so long ago, we also seen Instagram and so forth. And all of these need no introduction. They're very much a part of our lives. And what really happened here was we were not only reading, but also writing on the web. So it was basically a read-write kind of situation. And this is what we call is Web 2, okay, where we became influencers, we could market, people basically were using this as a huge market platform, whatever. So, this is a revolution, so to say. But then the interesting part of it, the whole money was being controlled by likes of the providers, in this case, Facebook, YouTube, where we were using them. Okay, and from Web 2, without us realizing, in not so long ago, 2014, an all new dimension came up to this. Is that where money over the internet protocol, where money became the new dimension. So Web 2 plus money on the internet is what we call as a Web 3. Okay, now if at all we are talking about the leap from Web 1 to Web 2 was I would say great. Okay, the leap between Web 2 to Web 3 is actually, I would say, is going to be mind-boggling, because it's going to be several times bigger. Okay, at dimensions we have never perceived or even imagined. So we, at the moment, in 2022, we are right at the point where things are just going to begin in a very big way, where money enabled within whatever that we do, it's going to give us let's say, an independent, decentralized opportunity. And that's what the next big thing is all about.
Right. So we are able to exchange goods and services using cryptocurrency in a metaverse.
Absolutely, in your own independent ecosystem.
But we're not going to be eating in a metaverse. How can restaurants take advantage of that? Because they are like typically a physical venue where you eat and enjoy together. So the metaverse becomes a tool for marketing, or?
Okay, now let's understand. Metaverse basically there are several experiences. For example, YouTube is an experience, Facebook is an experience, let's say webinar is an experience. They all basically interfaces, so to say. Now for this, we need to first of all understand what exactly, the blockchain, which brought about all this. Now, blockchain, simply put, is nothing else but where a given transaction is basically, let's say, multiplied and distributed over a network of computers within a block, so to say. So any transaction that happens, it basically gets recorded on a real-time basis with hundreds of computers within that network. So what does it really mean? So anything that you do is getting recorded at multiple points. So we are actually validating something. We're validating something, or in other words, trying to create a situation where it is absolutely recorded in time and you cannot fudge anything. You cannot change this. So it brings about an immutable situation and a trustless platform where you don't need to go to banks to say to vouch for you, or maybe to your school to vouch for your records, or go to a notary. But all of this is very much happening within this ecosystem itself in a much more transparent and a real-time basis. So this is the biggest thing that basically blockchain gives us. Now, what you can do with this is plenty. Now, like the first of all is obviously it brings in a seamless transfer of money at a fraction of cost. Now, just imagine whatever that you've been doing at the moment in Web 2, if you just add the element of money to it and you can independently do, now that's what opens a whole world of possibilities. Now, what can be done? What can be done in the within the restaurants is basically like the chefs could use it, the restaurants could use it for generating business, or it could be basically where the IPRs could be protected. Nobody can steal your IPR because you're the owner of the IPR. So it actually brings a lot of, let's say, a validation and credibility to whatever that you're doing in a decentralized environment. That means you don't have to depend on somebody, but you can do it independently on your own.
Right. And you can even use it as a, like a, if you're talking cryptocurrency in a blockchain, you can use it as like a customer loyalty. You can give your customer blockchain, like a crypto voucher to come back for business.
Of course, yes. I mean, for example, you can basically create awards for activities, and this could be given in the form of tokens. Okay, yeah. And these tokens you can create a basically, for example, world chefs could create a whole economy of its own. Now, just imagine you got 10 million members represented, from 10,000 different associations. And suppose you created a whole economy of your own with whatever that you do. So it becomes, World Chef becomes a whole independent, decentralized solution for chefs. You know, the possibilities are plenty, so to say.
Wow. Yeah. And so all this happens within that, what you mentioned, the blockchain infrastructure, and you mentioned cryptocurrency, but that also it could also be used to host the non-fungible tokens. And how does that work? What I mean?
Okay.
How can
okay. The non-fungible token is a technology, so to say, wherein you can actually, where you can, given asset can be basically broken to multiple, let's say multiple bits and pieces, and you could actually own, a part of it. For example, if I were a great chef, and you knew me, and a lot of people within the community knew me, and I wanted to set up a restaurant, you believe that I'm an expert and I could make a great restaurant, then actually I could raise money using non-fungible tokens. That means I actually sell tokens and where people could basically buy and buy this thing. So in other words, I'm actually creating I'm trying to create a decentralized economy, so to say. Now this could be also the experiences. For example, high-end restaurant sell food with an experience. It's all about the whole journey. And here, all of this could be made in NFT and a collector's item. So the possibilities of using, of doing things with NFT is plenty. So it's all about how creative you are, and you can take things to, mind-blowing, unimaginable ways it can be used actually.
Because you did an experiment at the Congress with our Global Chef Challenge, and you photographed all the winning dishes, and you turned them into a NFT.
NFT.
So,
yes.
So maybe that's a good example. So what can we now do with that? What is that?
See, for example, the World Chefs Congress in Abu Dhabi 2022 was an event by itself. Okay, and then we had the global chefs, and obviously, it was an event to basically remember forever. So what we did is we made NFTs of all the winners and the trophies that they won. Okay, at this point in time, those pictures of those events are now on the blockchain forever. Okay, and this becomes like a memory forever. Okay, it is not on an album, it's not sitting somewhere, but it's actually sitting in the blockchain, and for posterity, so to say. Now, just imagine over time, this could become a vintage, and these winners could basically capitalize on this. Now it's a question of creating a demand and interest. People could engage with you, and anybody who loves food and would want to basically have a piece of the world champion, okay, world champion chef, or world champion pastry chef, or young chef, or whatever. So it gives them a capability, or give them the opportunity to basically own a piece of that experience. And that's what NFTs are all about. But NFTs are, I would say, is a little confused thing at the moment. The reason is basically, first of all, we need to understand NFT as a technology in its purest form. And the application of the technology can be done in a multiple different ways. So at this point in time, way in which people are applying this whole technology, we are in the very nascent stages, very early stages. So we are actually going into very simple forms of it. So, first of all, the clarity should be to understand what the technology is about, and then understand application of it. The application is not the technology itself. Application could be done in a multiple different ways. So at this point in time, what is popular is NFT is basically popular. It's basically popular with images. It is basically very popular with events, it's popular with tickets, it's popular with engagement, and that is what is being looked into and built upon right now. But over a period of time, numerous possibilities could come up, and that's what the excitement is all about. It's about being creative and making use of technology, and how to take things to the next level using that as a tool, so to say.
Right. I think at the some takeaways from the panel discussion that you could use them as again like a club membership or meal vouchers, but even we can put the recipes and protect a food design or a recipe or origin of products and awards like we did for the Global Chef Challenge. Could be any award like Michelin award that the chefs could then use as a non-fungible token to create sort of like engagement awareness.
Yeah, for example, now the possibilities are plenty. Now, for example, I'm saying I'm a green restaurant, okay, and I charge a premium because I'm basically doing something, in a good for the ecosystem, so to say. Right. So hence so how do I validate? Yeah. Okay, and the blockchain gives you the whole thing which validates your process. And it basically endorses that what you're doing is absolutely true. And so this basically gives let's say, a bigger amount of credibility to the customer that what you're saying is validated. So I can command a premium for it. So it is basically, let's say, the element of validation and basically truth behind which can be now very clearly shown, and that's what you're capitalizing on. Now, for example, you could also be selling experiences out. So what can be done with it? Oh, it's a whole world out there, and that is being discovered, that is basically being created, that being creatively made. So that's the next thing that's what we can do. But what we actually try to let's say work on is that let's understand the world is going to change, okay, and the change is inevitable. Okay, and it's all there. It is for us to start getting into it right now so that we understand it. And then once we know it, it's better to be part of the flow at this point in time, to have the early mover advantage, not down the line when things heat up and then you're just basically getting into it. So now when you're on an early mover advantage, you can of course make a lot of mistakes. Okay. It's a learning curve, so to say, but the day you're ready, okay, you're good to go, because by the time the whole world is going to go flow into it. So that's what, and we need to capitalize on the momentum then by basically getting in right away, or like may take advantage of an early mover advantage, so to say.
Right. So now you mentioned like this the blockchain infrastructure that is comprised of the cryptocurrency and what you can do for this payment method, the non-fungible tokens that are images that can be sold or they are a part of an identity that you can protect. And how is all this linked to the metaverse? This is an interesting concept as well, even for education. It's like an augmented reality metaverse. It's you're pushed into some other world, other dimension.
Okay, now there's a little confusion out here. Now people think when you put on an Oculus, that is metaverse. No, it's not so. Okay, Oculus is just an experience. Yeah. Okay, I'd like to reiterate. Okay, metaverse does not mean you see something, let's say, very electrifying colors, neon colors, or some funny pictures, not that. Okay, metaverse is nothing else but basically it's a whole new universe. Okay, way in which we'll be doing things. For example, metaverse could be very big in education. How can that be? For example, it gives you the opportunity to learn to earn. For example, now suppose the world has got an education, correct? And just imagine you want to give scholarship to people who prepared and came before coming on board, like a good school could do. Okay, now it all depends upon on a blockchain validated learning. You know how much time the student is spending, how well is he doing. Okay, and when he comes on board, he comes with a lot of validated way. So based on the learning curve, the learning points that the learning aspects that you establish, okay, you can reward him. Okay, and we can reward him. So he comes and uses that money back into your ecosystem, saying that I earned my money here. Can you give me a discount or give me a scholarship or something like this? So this is the crypto way of going about. Okay, the next thing is, having said that, in the metaverse, because we're going to use a lot of augmented reality. So there's a very good opportunity to take learning, as a multi-dimensional approach, where we can wear the Oculus, you can actually feel it with the haptic gloves and so forth. Okay, so that now you're not really using ingredients, but you're practicing. Okay, and I'm the ardent believer of the fact that education cannot be learned online. Okay, but it definitely can be practiced online. Okay, okay, and just imagine we create courses, we create simulations where people help to basically learn to using this simulated way of going about, but then you actually deliver it in the real world. So you're saving basically, let's say you don't need kitchens for it. Okay, you don't need to basically burn money for ingredients. You're saving, you're talking about supporting sustainability in a very big manner. So all of this, if you really look at it, now these are ways in which we basically, let's say, capitalize on the possibility that this technology offers. So it's all again being creative how you can apply this.
I really like that. What you said is like the learning doesn't happen in a virtual reality, but you can practice and practice again, like pilots, like airplane pilots. They don't crash 5 airplanes before they graduate. They will actually do it in a simulator. So can I then imagine myself? I might have no pan in front of me. There is no fish there, but I still taken up the fish. I'm filleting it. I'm putting it on a pan. Might be no olive oil in my jar, but I'm pouring it over in a virtual reality. And so so the virtual reality is, or augmented reality is repeating what would happen in real life. So I can sort of accommodate to the situation until I really get a fish and I fill it and pour olive oil on my pan to fry it.
Now, all I can say, you seem to have got a very great application out there, and that's how you can use this technology. Now, for example, when you're learning from a book, okay, what do? You visualize it in your mind. Yeah. Okay, now just imagine you're getting into an immersive environment, you're wearing Oculus, which gives you a 360-degree, three-dimensional feel of it. And you're wearing those, you got those gloves in hand, even it gives you even the pressure sensors in it now. Now, technology is so much evolving that you can even feel what you're doing. You tilt your hand the other way around, the pan tilts the other way around. So this is where we are really doing. And ultimately, like I said, you can always practice in this dimension and always deliver in real world. And I suppose that's what learning is about. And touching up on airline that you said, yes, airline pilots are put to simulators. Okay, they put to simulators for many hours before they actually even fly, or even post flying, or they put to simulators, so that they get all the processes right before they get into real world. That's about the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess also for restaurants, the metaverse is a way to for restaurant hotels. You can visit, so you can basically visit a hotel room before going there, because it's just a simulation of what you expect to meet. You can actually have your customers walk through your swimming pool area in a metaverse before they decide they're booking with you. Or is that how it can be used as well?
Let me give you a classic example out here. Yeah. Most people go to restaurants, maybe high-end restaurant, to celebrate something, to make a statement, business. It could be anniversaries, birthdays, whatever put together. Okay, and when you decide, let's celebrate, the first thing comes, where do we go? That question always remains. Like, you want to go somewhere, but where do we go? It's a very difficult thing to answer. So just imagine restaurants out there gave a simulated kind of a thing of the in 3D, like three-dimensional they give, and you could basically get a walk around, get a feel, where do you want to sit, what do you want to order, everything put together, you decide, collectively decide. Okay, and for which restaurants reward you for all the exercise that you've done. And obviously you can make a right choice to go somewhere. So this is a much better way of going about actually. So the possibilities for chefs to showcase their recipes, to make them basically the customer to really know what they're doing, so that you're able to you're buying what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And that's what this particular technology promotes.
Exactly. And then you get engagement. That actually means engagement with a big community. So it becomes a promotional tool, not just with the person using your product, but the way that person will share that with their community throughout the metaverse or the or social media.
Of course, I mean, if you're really a great critique, and and especially this could be a great tool for awards. Awarding is something very important because it could make or break a chef or a restaurant. Okay, now just imagine there's a huge, big, even question even now: how credible is the awarding? Okay, if you would do this awarding on a blockchain, it can be validated. Yeah. So in its truest sense, so there are a lot of possibilities to ensure that, things are more tangible and more true, let's say more trustworthy, which is very important.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned rewards at the Congress. If you remember, we had a big discussion about the future of work and how to attract and retain skills in our industry, and like how can we reward people better. So this also the whole cryptocurrency. We talked about metaverse for training, also metaverse for consumer engagement, but training your staff and rewarding your staff. Is that
yes? In fact, education and training has a huge thing because it validates your skill sets and knowledge. And most important, as an employer, when you basically somebody produces a certificate, the first question is, yes, you basically go by it. But many a times the so-called qualification are not really validated. It does not mean, or it's not the weight what it's trying talking about. Suppose you have basically a blockchain validated school, a blockchain validated certification, so there's a lot more credibility in it. Okay, the next thing is, okay, and when everything is basically validated, you can basically rely on it much more. So that's obviously that becomes a cornerstone of business. So on the same note, now during the conference we also spoke about, could we actually pay bonuses using cryptos? Okay, now for example, now crypto basically is a fluctuating thing. Okay, there are certain things which are very, very solid and others not so good, because that's a different subject put together. But if at all we are basically making payments in a form like this, then you actually also creating a situation where these tokens, these basically currencies actually are actually appreciating over a period of time. So you're actually creating some sort of a value appreciation for the employees too. Now it's a question of how do we connect and how do you create a new dimension by the possibility that the technology offers. Now, the biggest onus that lies on our part is how do we create that credible solution? Like you said, the technology in itself is mind-blowingly beautiful, but what we are going to do with it, that is going to basically make all the difference. So at this point in time, like I said, things are nascent, but what all application we could come out of it and how beautifully we could to make an ecosystem out of it, and that's what will make the future here.
Yeah. So there we have actually brainstormed a lot about possible applications, and just what we are talking about here is the blockchain restaurant. And so the blockchain restaurant using these tools that we just went through, the cryptocurrency, the non-fungible tokens, the metaverse, to really invent a new business, a new business model to support the old business model in a sense. Where do people start? If I wanted to create my blockchain restaurant, if I have a restaurant, I want to make it into a blockchain restaurant. Where do I start? On the metaverse? On the
Okay. Now, I think best part is let's not get confused with all the jargons right now. They're all big words. Let's keep them aside.
Yeah.
The best part is, like I said, the simplest definition to metaverse is nothing else. Web 2 plus plus token NFTs, or Web 2 plus money on the internet protocol is basically the Web 3 or the metaverse. Right. Simple as that. So now we need to we need to get into a blockchain, which basically creates a whole ecosystem for that. Now there are a lot of basically providers out there, but not really specialists with restaurants or chefs. Okay, now what is our endeavor has been, since we know the ecosystem of the chefs very well in depth, because we've been here for the last couple of decades. Now, what we're doing is we're trying to enable those processes, the way in which we do things with the new technology. So I suppose the future lies in going to specialists who are basically specializing on this. So in other words, it will be more like a software as a service or a SaaS model, where even metaverse or Web3 could be a SaaS model where chefs could come and choose what they want. For example, I want to basically float my recipes in it. Okay, where I could share my recipe, people could use my recipe and pay me a money or royalty for it. And when they pay a royalty for it, I get the money for it. And this can all be done in an ecosystem which is decentralized. I could be a great, teacher. I could be delivering classes on through webinar platforms and so forth. And it could be blockchain enabled. Okay, where it also helps take care of finances, but also the certifications, whatever put together. Okay, third thing is basically I could be doing for restaurants, okay, where I could create a whole ecosystem of where I could even accept money in crypto. Now, best part is everybody is only hoarding cryptos. Okay, they're talking about Bitcoin. They only hoard Bitcoin, but the transactional aspect is yet to open up in a big way. If this happens up, then you should be ready for it. Okay, and then in other words, cryptos are of a different kinds. So you should be able to accept that money, and then only it becomes an ecosystem. Okay, then comes validation, where my produce is coming from, okay, what I am actually selling, what exactly is happening. So all this can be validated. So as a restaurant, I'm giving a very credible way of going about. So I think simply put, just imagine if the blockchain gives you a highly validated and credible solution, or let's say a trustless, immutable possibility, what you can do with it to actually, let's say, amplify or basically make known the good job that you're doing in the truest sense and be rewarded for it is what the future of the economy of food in the metaverse is all about.
And really what you mentioned, because I asked the restaurants, but you actually use the right word, is the chef's ecosystem. And then it's so much more than a restaurant. It's your training, it's towards your customers, towards your staff, towards the culinary school you hire from, towards, it's employer based. So it's actually a whole ecosystem that we could create around this. And
for example, in education, what do you really mean by application of this technology? It basically ensures it validates your attendance. It validates your taking classes, it validates your examination, and it validates the certification. Now, all of this, when an event is done, it cannot be basically undone. So what does it mean? That means you're gone through the training, you're basically done the exam. Okay, you are what the certification states it is. Okay, and there's a lot of processes behind this. Everything basically, let's say, it's also basically ticked off in the right manner, the right perspective, so to say. So the outcome is that you're able to give a quality delivery. Okay, and that is what, when you're hiring somebody or basically doing something makes all the difference.
Yeah. Thank you, Sunjeh. Been really excellent talking to you, and I think we have to digest and take this in, and probably we need to come back and revisit this matter, and maybe we could try to set up more of sort of step-by-step webinars for our members to walk them through. And why not? Like you said, I love what you said. You can create a world chef's ecosystem and create a world that is really built for the chefs. I love that vision, actually.
In fact, I'm just picking up from the idea of your global chef certification validation.
Yes.
And what was the whole spirit behind it is to create an international benchmarking. That means a chef from Australia to America, or from India to the Middle East or Canada or Europe was actually at par. Okay, now all you need to do is validate this what has to be done, and this is what the whole technology is all about, which can make it happen. So in other words, whatever that we are dreaming of at this point in time, okay, this technology will enable us to do it. And that's what the beauty of this technology is all about, actually. And the future, needless to say, is blockchain. I mean, there's no two ways about it. And the metaverse is more real than what the real world we are in at the moment. So it's a question of, if at all the application come in, I suppose we are going to go places with it, actually.
Well, hey, I let that be the closing words, Sunjeh. And I guess I'm pretty sure we'll meet again at next Congress in 2 years' time, and then we take the pulse of actually how much can change in 2 years. That's going to be very interesting. That's going to be a very
honestly speaking, by the time we come to Singapore, I mean, we've had this thing in a completely new dimension. People can feel it better, connect with it better. But then it's all about small steps. It is like ICCA, likes of ICCA, people taking small steps in the right direction. But then no, it's just about learning and then building something. So that's what the journey is all about.
Thank you, Sunjeh. I really want to thank you for all your implication in the Congress, and thank you for taking the time today to explain this in quite more detail with us. And I'm really looking forward to examine this with you more. So I want to really thank you for today and appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Ragnar. And we're really proud to partner with World Chefs. It's definitely the great vision, great moment for the people, for the chefs in the industry. I suppose it's like we all have an onus to do something, contribute in some way or the other. I suppose we are making the world that we live in. Yeah, I suppose that's the best way to put it.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We've been talking with Sunjeh Raja about the blockchain chef ecosystem, but blockchain in general and how this can benefit your business. So thank you for staying with us. And if you like the show, give us a nice credit. Don't forget to sign up and also sign up to our podcast, as well as World Chef's website, worldchefs.org. You will get, it's a free account, and you will get all the information, resources, job opportunities, so much more through the World Chef community. So I really want to thank you all for staying with us. Thank you again, Sunjeh, and everybody stay safe, stay healthy. You've been listening to World Chef Podcast. I'm your host, Ragnar Fredriksson, and this is World on a Plate. Thank you, Sunjeh.
Thank you very much. Thank you.